Hi D-Fly, my name is Erica. Today I have a 45-minute hips and hamstrings flow for you. I am going to teach without props, but if you have blocks, you're welcome to bring them near to your mat. I'll give you some reminders for when you might want to use them. And I'm really excited to open up hips and hamstrings. Let's get started. Let's come down to our hands and knees to get started. So I'll meet you on the mat with your shoulders over your wrists, your hips over your knees, and just start here by taking a little sway of the hips from side to side. And you can move as quickly or slowly from one side to the other as you like. If you find places that feel a little bit sticky, you can linger in those places. Push a little further into those areas. And as we're moving today, if anything is feeling particularly good, please linger in those places for longer, move further into those places. And similarly, if something just isn't quite right, pass them, change, modify. I want you to make this feel really good for you today. We're gonna come back to the center now. Bring your big toes together. Knees are gonna scoot out to the width of the mat. Start to slowly sink the hips to the heels and pause here for just a moment. This is gonna feel like an active child's pose, which is kind of exactly what this is. I want you to spread all 10 fingers wide. Press the weight into the pads of the fingertips. Roll the weight slightly into the L shape that your thumb and first forefinger make. And then let the eyes of the elbows look at one another. Spine gets long here. Inhale, yogis. Exhale, push the floor just a little further away. Now inhale, bring the hips forward over the knees again, and then exhale, spine stays long as hips press back. Once more, we inhale, hips coming forward. Exhale, slide hips back. Now from here, keep the length in the spine. Start to walk your hands away from you. Child's pose. Let the forehead release all the way down onto the mat, and then inhale, expand the entire back side of the body. And exhale, sink the chest space towards the floor. We have a little time here in stillness and in silence. If you like to practice with an intention, this is a great place to think about what it was that brought you to the mat today. What it was that prompted you to press play. Or maybe what it is that you're hoping to leave with more of today. If nothing comes to mind, that's okay. But I might encourage you to keep it simple. How about joy? How about we try to step off the mat today just feeling more joyful? Now you go back to your own intention, whatever it was, and let's seal it in with a couple rounds of breath here in our child's pose. Inhale fully. Exhale fully. Inhale. Exhale. Last time, inhale. Inhale as much as you possibly can. And then exhale, push the air all the way out, all the way out. As you feel ready, let's rise back up to our tabletop. Once again, we're bringing our shoulders over our wrists, our hips over our knees, and bring that side to side sway back. Now we started with this moments ago. Now, let's take the hips all the way up to the right side of the mat and then leave them there. Look over your left shoulder, see your shins behind you, and push your right hip a little further to the right side of the mat. Beautiful. We come through center, same thing to the left. Swing the hips to the left, hold them there, and then you look over your right shoulder, see your shins behind you. Excellent, and then we bring that little sway from side to side back. Now, as we move through this practice today, our hips will open gradually, our hamstrings will open gradually, so it's a fun journey to be on, to take it bit by bit. All right, neutral spine when you feel ready. Once again here, shoulders over our wrists, hips over our knees. We're gonna engage through the core like you're trying to pull up on your belly button. Take your right leg behind you. Activate through that right leg like you were trying to stand on a wall behind you. Your toes point to the floor. And then keep them dropping back in space until the ball of your right foot finds the floor behind you. Little pulls forward and back here. Opening the bottom of your right foot up into the Achilles, the calf, and even perhaps a little sensation into the hamstring. Beautiful. Now lift the right leg up. I like to come to the pads of my right fingertips here. Start to turn the right knee out to the right side of the mat. We're gonna step that right foot towards the top of the mat for a lizard pose. So a supported lizard, meaning that left knee is down on the floor. If you don't make it there in one swoop with the leg, wiggle, wiggle, adjust, find yourself in your lizard pose, whatever that means for you, and take a little sway from left to right. Now, I feel like we often land in a pose and think we're kind of stuck wherever it is that we have landed. Oftentimes, we want to wiggle, 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 find your way to the best expression for you. Okay, so it's always okay, you're not stuck in glue. So right now we're just taking that gentle side to side sway. Go ahead and land in the place that feels the best for you. So it just feels like a good opening. Bring your hands right underneath your shoulders, tuck your left toes, and let's fire up the left leg by popping the left knee off of the floor. Now little pulls forward and back on the left foot. Good. Beautiful, my friends. From here, pause in stillness. Inhale, reach the heart space longer, lengthen the spine, and then exhale, left knee drops, left toes untucked. We're gonna walk our right foot towards the center of our mat. Take your right arm up and around to frame that right foot, half split. You're gonna shift the hips back in space. Fingertips are tinted on either side of our right leg. Now, this is a fantastic place for your blocks. Again, I'm teaching without them today, but if you have those blocks, you could bring them underneath each of your hands. It brings the ground a little closer to you. Right toes point to the ceiling, my friends. Soften the right knee. See if you could tug that right hip back in space. Again, this is an initial opening of our hamstring. We haven't moved a whole lot. It might feel sticky. That is okay, my friends. Lengthen through the chest so the spine gets longer. Bend the right knee. Now from here, you're gonna bring yourself back to where you just were. So you're bringing your right hand inside of your right foot, walking that right foot off to the side of your mat. Start to break at the hips so that your right hip comes over your right knee, and then bring yourself back to your tabletop. Inhale, belly low. This is our cow pose. And exhale, cat. Spine round up, mid back to the ceiling, chin to the chest. Inhale, cow. Exhale, cat. Good. Finding that breath. Inhale, final round to your cow pose. Cat. Neutral spine, big toes together. Send the knees out to the width of the mat. Press the hips back to the heels. We were here earlier. Same thing with the hands. We spread the fingertips wide, press the pads of the fingertips down, roll weight to the L shape. Eyes of the elbows look at one another. Spine stays long. We inhale, lengthen the hips forward. Exhale, press them back. Inhale forward and back. Last time, forward and back. Walk your hands forward. You're coming back to that child's pose, taking that length with you. Now, let's get a little side body opener here. We're gonna walk our hands off the right side of the mat. Maybe left hand stacks on top of the right, and then let the chest, the head, the shoulders relax. Send the breath into the left side body. Inhale, make space between the left ribs. Exhale, you move into that space. Good. Pick the head up gently if you're resting it down, which I hope you are. Rest the head down, relax. And then right hand on top of left, we sink. So yes, rest that head down. And then expansion on the right side of your waist. Inhale, make space between the right ribs. Exhale. Work through center. And then bring yourself to tabletop position. Bring back that little shimmy of the hips. And then stillness, engage through core, left leg long behind, toes point down towards the mat, drop back, ball of that foot finds the floor, pull forward and back. Remembering to linger in any places that feel like they could just use a little extra love. And then we come forward. Left leg lifts up. And then you're gonna start to turn the left knee out toward the left side, pads of your left fingertips perhaps. Sweep that leg up for your lizard pose. Again, not stuck in glue when you land. Move the right knee back perhaps, left leg forward, and then take that little sway from side to side. Once again, initial opening on the hips here. So be curious about the body, explore. Good. And then when you find that place that feels really great for you, linger there. Right knee is gonna lift. So tuck the right toes, pop the right knee off. Here's where we get a little bit of length. Get longer, reach the heart space forward. Good. Right knee down, untuck toes, and then walk the left foot towards the center of your mat so your hands are coming to frame left foot, half splits. So we're breaking at the hips, shifting the hips back. Again, blocks would be a fabulous addition to this posture. Your left heel is down on the ground. Left toes are facing up. Nudge the left hip back. As you push the left heel down, slide your tailbone further back in space. Bend the left knee. And coming right back to where we just were, left hand inside of the left foot. Make your way to your tabletop position. Inhale, belly low. Cat spine. 3 rounds here. Maybe you add a little side to side undulation this time, cow pose. Cat. We'll be revisiting a lot of similar poses today. Last round, my friends, take it at your own pace. And I love coming back to poses multiple times in the same practice so that you can really explore and feel how things change as we move through practice. Neutral spine. Now, spread all 10 fingers wide. Remember that. Press down to the pads, roll the weight to the L shape. We're gonna take that into our downward dog. So tuck your toes, start to hover the knees, lift the hips up and back, downward facing dog. Now it's our first down dog. So let's be generous with the bend in our knees. So bend your knees a little more than you think you might need to. Shift your hips higher towards the ceiling. Spread your sitting bones apart and now add in any movements, any little wiggles, shimmies and shakes. Breathe. Take your feet wide to the back of your mat and walk your hands to your feet. Once you're at the back of the mat, your feet are wide. Come to a halfway lift. Soften your knees here. Your hands are on your shins. We're going to press the hips further back behind. Press the hands into the shins, make your spine long. Good. Length in the hamstrings even here on our halfway lift. Inhale once more for length and spill forward into that length when you breathe out. Keep your hands down on the mat here. Your feet are still wide. We're gonna walk our hands over towards our right leg. Ooh, getting into that right hamstring. Drop the chin to the chest. And then walk through center, over to the left. And over to the right. Over to the left. Come through center, find your halfway lift. I know our legs are wide here. Walk it out to your very first high plank. Land with the shoulders over your wrists, step your feet a little closer together. Now you can always bring your knees down if we're in high plank. Let's pick up the kneecaps, pick up the navel, shift it forward to your tippy toes. We're gonna find our belly. Let's go slow-mo. We're gonna roll down to the mat for 5. Remember, knees could be up or down. 4, 3, 2, and come all the way down. Untuck your toes for a little baby cobra. Shoulder blades pinch together and down toward your back pockets. Exhale your face to the floor. Find your way to tabletop. And take a big circle here. Roll your hips all the way back to the heels. Big circle, like you're trying to trace the perimeter of your mat with your body. Reverse directions. And after that circle is complete, meet me in the center. Tuck your toes, downward facing dog. Find that nice generous bend to the knees, that lift through the hips. Now, settle into stillness in your down dog if you're still wiggling around. Let's inhale high onto our tippy toes. And as you exhale, drop the heels towards the mat. Good. Inhale, tippy toes. Exhale, heavy heels. And last time, inhale, tippy toes. Heavy heels. Good. Start to walk your feet to the top of the mat now. Take a lot of little steps here, so you're being curious and exploring all the way up. Inhale to your halfway lift, a more traditional halfway lift now. Our feet are closer together. Exhale, fold all of the way down. And root to rise. You're coming all the way out and up. Bring the palms to touch overhead. Drag your hands down to heart center. Thumbs pressing into your heart space, shoulders rolling out of ears. Take your gaze down to your fingertips. Maybe you close your eyes if it feels honest. Inhale fully here. And exhale. Revisit that intention that you set. It was your own, or perhaps you went with joy. Just cultivating more of it. Lift your gaze back up, blink eyes open. Inhale, sweep the arms out and up. And fold over the legs. Move to your halfway lift. Step back, high plank position and hold. We're gonna move into some flows here. When you are on your next inhale, shift it forward to your tippy toes. Lower halfway down, chaturanga, or you could go all of the way. Inhale, up dog, or exhale, downward facing dog. Hold here for a moment. We're going to do a few more of those. One breath, one movement. You may be ahead of me or behind me. Let's inhale, tippy toes. Bend the knees, look to the hands, step to the top of the mat. Half lift, forward fold, rise. Forward fold. Half lift, chaturanga. Upward facing dog, downward facing dog. Look towards the top of the mat, step or maybe float. Half lift, forward fold, rise. Fold down. Half lift, chaturanga. We're building some heat here. Upward facing dog. Down dog. Our hips and hamstrings are going to love this heat. Bring yourself to the top of the mat. Half lift, forward fold. Rise up. Here's our last one. Enjoy. Fold down. Halfway lift, chaturanga. Up dog, down dog. And hold. Inhale fully, exhale fully. And notice the heat, the warmth. It's going to give us space to move into as we continue to send that love to our hips and hamstrings. Let's take our feet to the width of the mat. Again, walk your hands backwards. Halfway lift, that wide-legged halfway lift. We're seeing it here again. And fold down. Now walk your hands to your right foot. Keep your right heel down. You're gonna pick your right toes up and turn them off the side of the mat. Then plant the right foot down and fold all the way over that right leg. Good. Tug your right hip slightly back in space. Feeling that opening all the way down the back of the right leg. Coming to center, turn your right toes to face forward. Move into that halfway lift, that wide-legged halfway lift. Walk out to your high plank. Good. Now from here, step your feet towards one another. We're gonna bring our right foot outside of our right hand for a more active lizard. So that left knee is lifted. Pull forward and back on your left toes. Good. Now we're gonna move into a twist. Let's bring our left hand under our left shoulder. Right arm is gonna peel open toward the sky. Roll your right hand around, wiggle your fingers, lengthen through the crown of the head here. Beautiful twist. And then right hand comes down inside of the right foot. Go ahead and lengthen the spine, get longer, inhale, and then left knee drops, untuck the left toes. Now you're gonna roll the arch of your right foot away from the mat. So coming to the knife edge of that right foot, if you look down, you can see the bottom of your right foot. Take it side to side here. Good. Now, bring the right foot to center. Right hand comes up and around to frame, half split again. I told you we'll be revisiting poses because as we go through, we'll notice, ooh, I have a little bit more space. Now find something new here. Tent the fingertips, whether on the ground or blocks, and tug your fingertips gently towards your hips, lengthening that heart space forward, creating a bit more sensation in the back of the right leg. Okay, now we're gonna go to a straddle forward fold. I'm gonna turn my back on you for a moment. You're gonna bend the right knee. Both hands come inside of the right foot. You're gonna tuck the left toes, pop the left knee. Here's where I walk away from you. And go ahead and walk yourself to the center for a straddle forward fold. So all 10 toes are facing the left side of your mat. You're gonna fold down. Now soften your knees, lift your hips high here. Beautiful. This is a great opening for the entire back side of the body. Release the crown of the head, shake it out. And now, my friends, we're gonna go to Skandasana at the left leg. So you're gonna bend the left knee, and then you're gonna fall into this Skandasana position. Okay, so it's a little hard to see what I'm doing here on this side, but I have my left heel popped off of the floor. If you can keep your left heel flat, that's perfect. Go ahead and do that, but it's not a requirement, I don't think personally. We're getting a beautiful opening on our inner right thigh, left hip. So what you could do here is bring your hands down in front of you, push your left elbow into your left inner thigh and lean slightly forward. That's gonna make you feel more of a sensation. And for my friends who don't find this highly accessible or comfortable, you could come into a side lunge. It's gonna be more work on that left leg. So if you're doing that, ooh, I see you. One more breath here. And then we're gonna go all the way to the front of our mat. We're going to spin into a low lunge. Our hands are facing the front of the mat, our right toes facing the front. We're gonna rise up, high crescent lunge. Now bring your hands to your heart. Tug your right hip back in space. Let's straighten our right leg here. Bend your right knee. Feel that in the left hip. Straighten the right leg. Ooh, with a weeble wobble. Bend. Last one, straighten, bend. Good, now as you're in this low crescent lunge, take the arms overhead, pinky fingers turn towards the front of the mat, shoulders out of the ears, find some fire here. Pull up on the left kneecap, beautiful, inhale fully. Exhale, hands come down, step into your plank position, move through a flow if you like, lower to your chaturanga, up dog, downward facing dog. Good, from down dog, feet step wide, walk your hands to the back of your mat. Halfway lift, spine gets long. Fold over the legs. Walk towards your left foot. Left heel stays on the mat, pick your left toes up. Turn that left foot to face off the left side of the mat and fold over the left leg. Finding more of an opening here on the the left hamstring, releasing the chin to your chest. Moving through center. Turn the left toes to face back. Forward, halfway lift. Walk it out to your high plank. Feet come a little closer together. Pick up your left foot. It comes up outside of your left hand for your active lizard. Again, wiggle, wiggle. Shimmy around, adjust. You can pull it forward and back. I like this moment to kind of explore because then you can find, oh yeah, right there is where you have your great opening. It feels safe and good for your body. Right hand under the right shoulder, left arm to the sky. I can't emphasize enough how different and unique all of our bodies are. So that's why the wiggles are so important. Find those places that work best for you. Good, lengthening, enjoying this twist, movement to the left hand, and then left hand comes down inside of that left foot. Lengthen forward through the spine first, then drop the right knee, untuck right toes, walking right foot back to the center, framing the foot with your hands, move to your half splits, shifting hips back. Second time you're seeing this pose on the left side. So where can you find something new? We're definitely warmer than we were the first time we were here. So let's utilize that warmth and come a little deeper into the pose. Inhaling to pull the fingers slightly towards the hips and exhaling to sink into that space. Good, bend the left knee. Both hands come inside of the left foot. Right toes tuck, right knee lifts off, straddle, forward fold. So this time we're gonna use a halfway lift to get more space. So bring your hands under your shoulders, find yourself in a halfway lift. Another great spot for your blocks if the floor feels far away from you. Now hold this half lift. I know we've already been here for a while. Soften your knees, push your hips back, lengthen your spine, inhale, and then fold down. See if you can take a little bit more length with you here. If ever you find a pose is becoming stagnant, use the breath to find a little something new. Inhaling to bring length to muscles and joints, and then exhaling to feel as though you can move into that length. Bend the right knee, make your way into your Skandasana on this side. There's a lot of different ways you can do this pose. The way I'm cueing it today is really in the spirit of opening our hips and hamstrings. Okay, so lots of other options, and if you have those in your practice and if you're craving them, like I said early on, please take them. But for our purposes today, I'm wanting us to open that left inner thigh. You should feel a big stretch here. Remember, it's okay for the right heel to be off, left toe shine to the ceiling, hands in front of you. This is what I was doing on the other side that was harder to see. Lean forward, kind of pressing. I'm pressing my right elbow into my right inner thigh and moving my right knee away from my body here. This is intensifying that whole hip sensation. Beautiful. All right, my friends, let's come out of this. We're walking ourselves back to the front of our mat, spinning into a low lunge with hands framing the left foot. Now, nothing from our waist down should change here. So firm up the lower body, rise up to your high crescent lunge. Oh, we had our hands at our heart, didn't we? Hands at our heart. And then we're straightening our left leg. Bend, feeling that opening as we go down. Straighten. Bend. Straighten. And bend. Now we hold, lift the arms, little fire here. Front of that right hip is getting a big stretch. Long right leg, active body. Inhale. Exhale, hands come down, step back, move through your flow if you like. You can always go straight to downward facing dog. Every time you land in down dog, just notice that space opening. Good. Now we're gonna walk our feet to the top of the mat. Inhale, find your lift. Forward fold and rise tall. Connect the palms overhead. Drag the thumbs towards the heart space. Land here for a moment, revise. We're gonna come into a standing figure four. So you can bring your hands down to your sides. Let's start with our right leg lifting. So you're gonna lift your right knee into a stair step. So from here, you're gonna cross your right ankle just above the top of your left kneecap. You're gonna move your right knee away from yourself, hands at your hips or at your heart. Start to sink yourself down. We're looking for an opening in the back of our right hip, okay? Again, in the spirit of hip opening. You can bring your hands to your shins if you like. Still encouraging that right knee to move away from you. If you have a toe stand in your practice, you're welcome to come all the way down. Take any adjustments that you need to really move that opening into the back of the right hip. About 2 more rounds of breath here. Good. When you're finished, go ahead and stand all of the way up. The right knee can come with you. And then just put it down on the mat. Now give the left leg a bit of a shake. Very nice. Stand tall, both feet grounded. Inhale, lift the arms. Fold over the legs. Halfway lift. Left leg takes a big step to the back of the mat. We're gonna move into a half pigeon with our right leg forward. So bend the left knee, drop the knee, untuck the toes, and then wiggle, right foot across the mat. Set yourself up for your half pigeon. So in that standing figure four, we had sort of a preliminary opening to the back of that right hip. Now we can harness all of the openings we've done thus far and find a really lovely place. So fingertips coming in front of your right shin. Wiggle around as much as you need to find a position that feels good for you. If this hurts your knee, roll to your back, okay? Fingertips are gonna tent in front of you. Imagine you could drag the fingertips towards the shin, lengthen the heart space forward. If you're already rushing, take your time. Exhale, come down to your forearms. Same thing here on your forearms. Inhale, drag the elbows towards your shin, get longer. And exhale, continue your descent into your half pigeon. Eventually, I would love it if you could connect your forehead to a block or maybe a pillow you have at home, your hands, the mat. That connection between our forehead and an object can be very calming for your central nervous system. So it can enhance your ability to relax, to unwind, to open into these sticky places. For those of you that experience knee pain with this pose, you'll be on your back right now with your right ankle crossed over your left knee in a supine half pigeon. Those of us here on our bellies, just relax. We're gonna be here for a while. I want us to have an opportunity to really unravel and move into the space that we're creating here in our hips. If you are someone who has a habit of wrenching yourself down into the deepest part of your stretch really quickly, I would encourage you to try it, maybe just once. Take your time, moving more peacefully, slowly, and mindfully into postures. You might find that the end result is more profound and get a little more out of that opening. We have 2 rounds of breath left here. And when you're finished, come up onto the palms of your hands. Let's roll the right hip down to the earth. We're going to swing the left leg around. If you were on your back, meet us here. Face towards you a little bit more so you can see what I'm doing. Left leg is long. Right foot is on the inner part of your left thigh. You're going to bring your hands behind your fingertips, tent the fingertips, push them down as you grow up through your chest. Turn your chest toward your left toes, and then let's walk down over our left leg. Inhale, lengthen the heart space toward your left toes, make length, and then fold into that space. Here's another place where if you find that the opening becomes stagnant, you can utilize that half lift, that inhaling to lengthen and exhaling to come down. It can help you find a little bit more room. Walk your hands back up your left shin. Right hand comes behind the right sitting bone, left hand onto the right thigh. A light tug here into that thigh. As we counter twist, lift up through the crown of the head, look behind yourself over your right shoulder. Square yourself off so your torso is facing forward. Right hand behind the right seat. Push down into that palm, lift up. Reach the left arm behind you. Releasing that whole front side of the body. Good. And then we go ahead and bring our hips down. Both feet are gonna extend forward to the front of the mat. Go ahead and bounce the knees around a couple of times. And then one at a time, scooch your sitting bones back. And then bring your hands in front of you. Inhale, half lift, and fold over the legs. Walk yourself back up. And then we are going to bring the hands behind us, bend your knees so that the feet are as wide as the mat. You're gonna drop them off to one side. So if you're dropping them to the right, I want you to angle your torso toward the left. You're gonna feel that in the outer part of your left hip capsule. This is stretching our hips in internal rotation. We do a lot of external, so this is sort of the opposite of that half pigeon for our left hip. Bring the knees center and then drop them over to the left, angling your torso more towards the right hip now. Beautiful. And then we'll go with a more organic sway left and right at your own tempo. One more each side. Beautiful. And then knees come up. You're going to cross your ankles, move yourself forward, tabletop position. And we'll meet back in downward facing dog. Walk your feet up to your hands. Take your halfway lift. Fold into the legs. And we rise. Palms join overhead, hands pull down to our heart space, and then just drop your hands down to your side. We'll prepare for our figure 4 on our second side now. So get yourself ready however you like. Right leg is going to be base, standing tall here. Left knee lifts to our stair step position. Turn the left knee out. The right ankle is going to connect just above the right kneecap. And then we're sitting our hips back. So push the hips back first, slightly down second, and then move the hands either to the heart, the hips where I had them to start, or onto the shin. You can push that left knee slightly away from yourself if you like. Go ahead, 2 more breaths. And slowly rising back up, left knee can lift for a moment, and then put it down. Check that out and however you like. Stand tall, inhale the arms to rise. Forward fold. Halfway lift. Right leg takes a big step back. Setting yourself up for your half pigeon here on the right side. Go ahead and drop the right knee, or actually this is our left side. Wiggle, wiggle the left foot across. It's a little different entrance to half pigeon than we sometimes see. So take all of the time that you need to arrive in your spot. Those of you on your back, you'll do this there. Bring your fingertips in front of you. Drag the fingertips toward your shin. Tug the left hip back. Lengthen. And then come down. Inhale, drag elbows toward shins. Pull left hip back. And come a little further. So that's kind of that gradual, slow transition into the pose. It ensures that we land safely, and it takes away that moment of sort of panic when you first get into that intense opening. Settle in here, enjoy a little silence, a moment to revisit your intention. And you know what? If you haven't given yourself a compliment today, please say something nice to yourself right now. It's about 2 rounds of breath left here. Find that softness. And if it's feeling fabulous, and if you don't feel ready, please take all the time that you need. When you are ready though, walk your hands to the left shin. The left sitting bone is gonna roll to the mat. If you were lying down, go ahead and join us here. You're gonna swing your right leg around so that your left foot is close to the right inner thigh. Hands behind your sitting bones. Start here so that we can grow the spine tall first. Turn your torso to your right toes, walk down. Inhaling to lengthen, reach your heart toward your right toes, and then exhaling to sink. Walk yourself up the right leg. Left hand behind your left seat. Right hand to the left thigh. Tug. Grow the spine tall first. Look over the left shoulder second. And then bring yourself to square forward. Left hand behind your left seat. Push into the left palm. Hips press forward. Right arm reaches behind you. Good. Hips find the earth. We're going to bring both legs straight ahead of us here, okay? Both legs come straight forward. Last time in our seated forward fold. Inhale, lengthen the spine, and exhale, sink. Now again, you've been here twice. So maybe this time you find you can just release a little bit more. Walk up. Hands behind you, bend the knees, just like we did last time. Feet are wide. We're going to drop the legs over to the right. Angle yourself toward your left. This one's a bit of a kind of a game, right? Bend your knee a little bit, push it down, lift it up. Find that place where you get that stretch. It's almost kind of like a spot that we don't feel all of that often. So enjoy that. Over to the other side. We're angling our torso now to our right, playing with the position on that right knee. And then we bring the knees back to center. Here's our last upright or seated posture of the practice, straddle forward fold. I feel like this is a lot of our favorites, or maybe your nemesis, but I'm gonna hold space for you here because I love this one and I'm gonna help you try to love it too. You're gonna bring your one hand in front of you, one hand behind you. And your legs can go just as wide as you like. If they're only this wide, that's okay. Now with your hands here, you're gonna pick your hips up and shift forward. Pick up, shift forward. Now bring your hands in front of you. And a lot of the reason that we kind of feel intimidated by this pose is we feel like we have to lay our tummy on the floor. Not the case, friends. Bring your hands in front of you, tent your fingertips so your fingertips are down, your palms are up, and maybe this is where you stay, right? Even if I go just a couple of inches, I have a lot of sensation, okay? So enjoy that inner thigh, right? It's like that same inner thigh stretch we were feeling on Skandasana. And then someday, one day, just like we did going into our half pigeon, we just come out tiny little bits at a time till maybe you're on your forearms. Maybe not. Last round of breath here. Good. All right, my friends. Very nicely done. Let's walk ourselves back up. Getting out of this one is a little tricky too, so bend it one at a time until the feet are facing forward. We are going to make our way all the way down to the mat now. So go ahead and just lay yourself down. Bend the knees. We're going to wrap the arms around the shin bones and then find your way into happy baby. Soles of the feet up to the ceiling, grabbing onto the outsides of the feet. Pull the low back down to the floor. So you have full connection between your back and the mat. And if you want one more hamstring moment for this hips and hamstrings class, take your 2-piece fingers, circle grip your big toes and send your legs out straight. This is sort of like that straddle forward fold we were doing, but now you're on your back. Rock left and right. And push the heels away from yourself. Good. Then bend the knees. Bring yourself back to where you just were, wrapping your arms around your shin bones. Bring your forehead off of the floor, maybe towards the knees. Give yourself a hug here. Last moment before we get to rest. Thank yourself for taking this time for you. And then lay yourself all of the way down in your final resting pose. Your feet can spill out to either side. Your palms can rest face up. And just let yourself reap the benefits of the practice. Life is busy and time moves quickly. So for many of us, this may be the only time that we dedicate just to ourselves for our well-being, mentally, emotionally, physically. So I commend you for taking this time for you. Enjoy just a few more moments. Try not to wish it away. The space you've created in your hips and hamstrings will transfer to patience off the mat, to joy perhaps, if that was the intention that you were practicing with. Let's try to take all that goodness with us here as we start to wiggle our fingers, wiggle our toes, roll wrists and ankles. Blink your eyes open and reach your arms up overhead, big full body stretch. Again, noticing all that space that you've made. You can bend the knees, plant the soles of the feet on the floor, drop them off to the side, roll onto your side body just for a moment here. Take a big breath into the spine, the back, and exhale, land softly. can press yourself up to a seated position here. With eyes closed, you can bring your hands onto your knees or to your heart. We'll finish with just one more breath, my friends. Inhale fully. Exhale fully. It's been a pleasure to guide you through this practice today, yogis. The very best in me. Season honors the very best in all of you. Big love and namaste.